Okay, guys, we're back again. Hopefully now I can start Lyney's story quest because I just finished Nevi's.
Flashback.
Wait, a character is currently involved in other quest? What does that mean?
I see. So you believe that this warning letter was sent by the Phantom Weasel?
Absolutely. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Phantom Weasel never acts as you expect. He must have faked his own death 10 years ago using a body double. Now that he's back, I'm sure the guards who worked on his case back in the day are in for
Is that like a play on like Phantom the
in the
Opera?
end, the one thing it won't be is boring.
Couldn't agree more. As a journalist, I'm gonna get a lot of mileage out of this one. Thank you, sir, for your time. Now, whom should I interview next? Huh? Hey!
Not me. I'm just passing by.
Fancy meeting you here.
I need you to finish talking so I can finish Nevi's story quest.
The Phantom Weasel's latest warning letter. What are your thoughts?
And I'm guessing this warning letter isn't the warning letter to the Melusines.
Yeah, this is the first time we're hearing of this one. Could you clue us in?
Huh? Oh, sorry. Yes, this case is from a decade
Wait,
ago.
a decade ago. Never mind. It's not the same one.
About it. Well, not to worry. You're in good hands because I'm a professional. The story goes like this. 10 or so years ago, a phantom thief became active in the court of Fontaine, known only as the Weasel. Nobody knew his true identity, and the
Quite a code
authorities
name,
never
the
managed to catch
Weasel.
him.
Wow, cool! He sounds like one of those mysterious night burglars that you read about in novels.
Precisely. Well, except the part where they actually have a good reputation. Our Weasel targeted whatever people held dear, and no one was safe from his predations.
Like, what was he
He would
targeting?
just as soon
Like,
steal a necklace
oh,
from a
he was
rich
a
merchant's
robber?
safe as he would a toy doll given to a commoner child for their birthday. I know. The phantom thieves you read about in novels rob the rich to pay the poor, but this guy did not discriminate. Unsurprisingly, this didn't work.
that's
wonders for his
funny. He
public
basically
reputation.
steals
Every
everything that
man
is
and his dog
valuable
wanted
to the
see him
person.
behind
It doesn't matter
bars.
how much it costs.
Yeesh. So, did they catch him?
They did not.
Not exactly. There's a good chance that the Weasel would still be at large to this day if it hadn't been for an accident 10 years ago. A magician named Caesar fell to his death in a botched high-altitude escape performance. When the police went through his personal effects, they found a hoard of stolen loot and gadgets used for criminal
So he
activities.
died? Wait, he was a
And
magician that
was how the
died?
Phantom Weasel's identity was revealed to all. Sure enough, thefts in Fontaine went down after Caesar's death. But today, 10 years on,
Unless,
notorious
obviously, it
thief
seems
has
like the
once again
Weasel
issued one of his
faked his
warning
death,
letters
right? And pinned it on
pasted it on
Caesar?
the gate of the Opera Epiclese for all to see. I had to squeeze through the crowd this morning to get a photo as soon as I heard. Here, it's this one.
Well, I can't read any letters.
So, this is the warning letter, huh? Let's see what he wrote. 3 days from now, when evening falls, I shall take from you that which you hold most dear at the opera house, just as you did to me 10 years ago.
This is, without a doubt, a clear declaration of criminal intent. After years
But who's
of
that
laying low,
letter
the Phantom Weasel is
like
back with a
sent to?
vengeance.
Who's the
What
victim?
once seemed like an open and shut case has been blown
Because
right
it just
open
seems like,
again.
well, the
Why
original guy who
has
got
he reemerged
pinned,
now? And what
he
does
fell to
want?
his death
I
though.
sense
Like, it wasn't like
an
anyone
epic
caught
scoop,
him.
And I'm going for it.
Uh-oh. If this thief will steal anything that other people value, does that mean even we might be targeted?
Yeah, steal Paimon.
Paimon doesn't want to get kidnapped. Well, he'd have to go through you first. You would stop him, right?
No.
Okay, the people have spoken. It's clear that the public are very concerned about the Phantom Weasel's reappearance. Let's see, I've got a photo of the letter, my interview notes. Yep, that should be enough to form the skeleton of my article. It does feel like something is missing, though.
I mean, it wouldn't be Lyney, right?
Exclusive.
No, Lyney's a kid.
Who should
Why
I
would he be
interview
around 10 years
next?
ago?
I need someone with a more concrete connection to the Weasel. Is that who I think it is?
Yes, it is. I don't know when this quest takes place.
Hey!
Like, before the Archon quest? After the Archon quest?
Magic, magician, Caesar.
Before
The
Neverlette's
Phantom
story
Weasel.
quest?
That's it. Let's go interview Lyney. You see, The original Phantom Thief Caesar was a magician too! And what do Phantom Thieves and magicians have in common? They both have an air of mystery about them.
Are you serious? What sort of a deduction is that?
Oh, relax. My journalistic instinct
That kinda sounds
tells
like
me that an
clickbaiting.
exclusive news story is beckoning. Let's go. No time for delay.
Wow, Mr. Magician! How did you know which card I picked?
Oh, it's simple. Come closer, and I'll let you in on my secret. Magicians have a special skill called telepathy, which means we can read
They always
other
have the
people's
real
minds.
card on them, right?
Really?
That's what happens.
Then...
Like the real
What am
card
I
that you
thinking now?
picked is always on their body somewhere.
Well, first you need to relax, because I can see that you're clenching your fist in your mind, as if to say, no, I mustn't let him guess it.
Aww.
And now you're getting a little flustered. You're trying to find a way to empty your mind, to think of nothing at all. But the more you try to hide a secret, the easier it'll come out. You snuck out from home today, didn't you? You told your family a little lie so you could come out and play. Now, that's not a good habit.
How does he know all
You
that?
can tell? Oh boy, you really can read my mind.
Of course. Oh, and that's the end of my performance.
I do know
You
some
should really
magicians,
be heading
right? Can
home.
like
Remember to
they can know
apologize
what
to your
card
family,
you
all right?
picked without
They
seeing
must
it.
be worried about you.
Or like they know what number you were
All
thinking
right,
of, which is
got it.
so crazy.
Bye, Mr. Magician.
Alright, time to interrogate Lyney. Are you the Phantom Weasel?
Hey, Lyney?
Why, hello. We meet again. Are you looking for me? What's the situation?
Well, why don't you guess, Mr. Telepathic?
Oh, please. You didn't believe that spiel, did you? The power of telepathy is quite beyond me.
Then tell me your
I'm
tricks.
sure that child would beg to differ. Seemed like you were right on the money.
That was nothing more than a little trickery. I made an educated guess based on his micro-expressions. That, plus the fact that he was the only kid here without his parents,
Oh,
and he
I guess
looked
that
as
makes
guilty as
sense.
sin. He made it easy for me. You guys, on the other hand, let me
Wow.
guess.
I feel like
Don't tell me
Lyney
you're
should be
here
the
for
detective.
Phantom Weasel, are you?
Wow, got it in one! Is this more of your trickery at work?
Wait, really? No trickery this time. It was pure luck. His warning letter's been the talk of the town, so I figured that maybe you were asking around about that.
No.
Bingo! I plan on writing a column reporting on the latest news about the Phantom Weasel. So, Lyney, what are your thoughts on this infamous thief's reappearance?
To be honest, it makes me angry.
I mean, I guess it gives magicians a bad name.
You read his letter, right? The Phantom Weasel claims he's planning something in 3 nights' time at the Opera House. That's the night I'll be performing there.
Huh. What are the chances? Wait
I
a minute, you don't think
mean-
he's after you, do you?
But what is Lyney's most prized possession?
Well,
Lynette?
if he is,
He's gonna steal
then his
Lynette?
warning is clearly a direct challenge to me personally. And if he's not, then it's still going to be a huge headache for me. The mere mention of the Weasel's name is enough to scare people off. So once the contents of that letter
Oh.
get out,
Well, I guess it
barely
steals his
anyone will be showing
customers.
up to watch my show. But I've been preparing for this for a long time. I'm not about to let him ruin my big day. This leaves me with only one choice. I have to expose the Phantom Weasel's identity before the show begins.
Good. So we're all working together.
Really? So what you're saying is, we might get to see a live duel between a famous magician and an infamous thief? Wow, this has exclusive written all over it.
To be honest, I'm not sure if I'll emerge the victor. The Phantom Weasel is a notorious crook, infamous for his inscrutable methods.
I mean, there's no
Flaunting
chance the
modesty.
Phantom...
I think
the
your magic
Phantom
tricks
Menace.
are even more inscrutable than those of a
There's
thief.
no chance that the Phantom Weasel...
Thanks for the compliment,
has a
though
vision,
I have to
correct?
say, I don't care much for the comparison. A lot of people liken magicians to thieves because we both have the ability to make things disappear without the person noticing. But there's an important difference that these people overlook. allow me to demonstrate with a quick magic trick. Here, I have a flower, just an ordinary flower that was picked not long ago. Watch it carefully now. 3, 2, 1.
Now that's impossible.
It's good!
The camera
That's
angle
the
did that,
question.
but
Where did it go?
it wouldn't just disappear from his hands.
Therein lies the difference between us. Thieves make precious things disappear, but only magicians make them reappear. If I could now invite you all to check your clothes, there
That's
might be a
impossible.
surprise in there somewhere.
A surprise? Let me see! It's right
And it's not
there!
even in my pocket.
Wow! You haven't moved this whole time!
What an outstanding trick! Sorry, Lyney, it seems that my previous praise was woefully inadequate. Clearly, magic is the superior art form to theft.
Don't worry, I didn't take offense.
Well, we don't actually know. We
I
don't
just
even
wanted to
know
take the
if the
opportunity
Phantom
to
Weasel is a
perhaps
magician.
change
Actually,
some of
they
the
just steal
preconceived
stuff, but
notions you might have about magicians.
it wasn't like they used magic
Since
to take it
Caesar's
away.
Death, a lot of people associate magicians with criminality. It can be quite frustrating.
I can imagine. Coming back to your trick just now, might I presume that you are well versed in floral symbolism?
Huh?
For example, magicians often use rainbow roses in their flower-related performances to represent passion and romantic encounters. But you used a Lumidu spell, which, if I'm not mistaken, allude to separations. I'm curious to know if there was any deeper meaning behind this choice?
Impressive knowledge. It's no wonder you're such a successful journalist. But I'm afraid I don't know the first thing about floral symbolism. I'm just in the habit of using Lumidu spells in my magic. It sounds like something I should look into, though.
Is
I'll buy
that
myself
going to be a
copy of
hint in the
Fontaine's
future?
Floral language facts when I have some time.
Like
But it'll have to wait until
flower
this Phantom Weasel
symbolism?
business is behind us.
Well noted. In that case, this brings us to the end of our interview. I, for one, am looking forward to the final showdown between you and the thief. Please feel free to get in touch to update me on any further developments. Otherwise, I will of course see you at your show in 3 days' time, but let's hope the Phantom Weasel is caught by then.
In 3 days.
If there's nothing else, I'll be off. You've given me lots to work with here, and I've got no time to lose if I want to write that exclusive piece. I'll see you all later.
So, Lyney, are you gonna tell us how you did that flower trick now?
I'm afraid that's my little secret.
There's a little invisible guy,
Magicians are entitled
right?
to their secrets.
Planting it on me.
But you feel it too, right? So itchy.
Not so itchy then, huh? Well, since you're so concerned, how would you like to serve as my temporary magician's assistants and help me investigate?
As long as I'm getting paid.
Magician's assistants? Oh, that sounds fun. Assistants are technically magicians too. Also, it'll bring us one step closer to figuring out how that darn trick is done. Shall we go for it?
Excellent. Thank you for putting your trust in moi. The first thing we need to look into is who Caesar really was. If he truly was the Phantom Weasel, that means that the Weasel is
Oh,
dead.
that is
and whoever wrote this
true.
warning
It could be
letter
the
is
new
just
one. It's just a copycat,
criminal.
right?
But if he wasn't the Weasel?
Yeah, if he wasn't,
Well,
that means the
that'll make
original
things
one
more
framed
interesting.
him.
It would mean that the Weasel lives, and he's been laying low all this time in some corner of Fontaine.
I don't know. I feel like it's a
And if
copycat.
we're investigating
Right?
Caesar, his fiancée Gemma is a good place to start. Word is that she visits the cemetery often, so I asked Lynette to wait for her there. We should make a move. Let's go and rendezvous with Lynette.
Her fiance is still alive.
One eternity later.
You took your time.
Sorry, I bumped into the Traveler and Charlotte en route, and we ended up chatting for a while.
More like interrogated, right?
While, Lynette. We're working as Lyney's temporary assistants in the investigation of the Phantom Weasel.
Thank you. It's good to have you helping.
So, what's the situation? Have you seen Gemma?
Nope. I've been here a while, and she still hasn't shown up.
How bizarre. Maybe it was bad intel.
I
Well,
feel like
we
we're
won't get anywhere by
falling into
standing
a
around
trap.
waiting.
Like the Phantom
Traveler,
Weasel
climb
knew
on.
we were
Let's
coming,
go ask
right? And
around.
gave us like bad intel.
Excuse me, good sir. Do you by any chance know a Gemma?
Gemma? You mean Caesar's fiance? Sure I do. What's this about?
I'm just trying to get a hold of her because I need her help with something. I heard she comes here a lot.
Yeah, she does. Poor thing. It's no secret why either. She's heartsick. Ever since Caesar passed away, she's been coming here once every week to clean his grave.
But she's not here right
Often,
now.
she just sits there in front of his headstone, lost in thought. Sometimes she talks to herself. I asked her what she was doing once. She said she wanted to speak to him again. She knows he's gone and can't hear her from the grave, but she just likes to spend time there, telling her fiancé all about how her life is going.
That's
She's
sad.
been doing this ever since Caesar passed away? Oh, so 10 years.
Nevi's quest was pretty sad too, and
Caesar's
now
reputation
this
fell
quest
apart
is kind of
after his
fucked
identity
up.
was revealed, so no one else visits his grave. Gemma's the only one who still thinks about him after all these years. I
That's
don't
true
know
love,
if the
baby.
mind lives on in the waters after death, but if it does, I'm sure Caesar must be grateful to have someone who remembers him fondly. If I'm honest, I think this is all so unfair to poor Gemma. Her fiancé was a low-life crook. He doesn't deserve someone like her. Anyway, all of that said, she's running later than usual.
I mean, I'm
today.
sure Caesar will want her to
Normally
move
she'd
on,
be
right?
sitting
Like
in
have a
front of his
happy
grave
life.
by now.
Don't just keep living in the past.
She's okay. Well, that's
But I guess she just
everything I
loves
know,
her too
I'm afraid.
much.
You might have more luck asking some other people.
All right, well, thanks for sharing all of this with us. We'll keep asking around.
You're welcome. I just hope she'll be able to move on one day.
Did you hear the news? They're saying the Phantom Weasel's back.
You're kidding. Wait, isn't he dead?
Yeah, that only
don't know
means he
anymore.
somehow
All sorts of
framed someone
news
else
flying
for his
around
crimes.
nowadays. I can never tell what's true and what
Unless
isn't.
it's a copycat, Phantom Weasel.
But what if, just hypothetically, I mean, what if this weasel's the real deal and Caesar was
Yeah, I mean, that's
framed?
probably what happened, correct?
Called it. Seriously, 10 years ago, on the day it all went down, I said to myself, you know what? This guy's been set up. The Caesar I knew was a good guy. He gave balloons to children on the street, for Pete's sake. What, are we supposed to believe that he was a balloon thief or something? Give me a break.
That is
Oh,
true. Like, obviously,
please.
Caesar had a
Weren't
reputation
you the
of being a
one
good
cursing his
person.
name to high heaven when the police announced the news? You were all, "Oh, that gosh darn lousy son of a, oh, you think you know
So this
a
guy
guy,"
just changes his
or words to
opinions
that
whenever he
effect.
feels like it.
Wait, did I say that?
Oh my god.
I don't
So
think
whatever
I
the
know.
public says, he agrees.
Hello there. Sorry for disturbing you, but I couldn't help but notice you were discussing the Phantom Weasel. We're actually quite interested in this topic as well, but we're struggling to
Wait,
get to the
what
bottom
if the
of it.
Phantom Weasel
Do you think you could spare
isn't even a
moment to tell us a
human?
little bit about Caesar?
Like, it's an actual weasel, like an animal.
You've come to the right people. Yep, I was there.
Like a
Back when Caesar
shapeshifter.
used to perform magic tricks on the street. He was a great magician. The best trick I ever saw him do was pop a transparent balloon, only for a whole bunch of doves to fly out from the inside.
Oh, that is cool. Okay.
I was right up close and didn't blink or look away once. But for the life of me, I still don't have the faintest clue how he pulled it off. Really incredible stuff.
I mean, could have just
I
YouTube
saw
it.
him perform too. He always used to bring some gifts along for the kids who came to watch his show. And he'd hand
Is it
them out
possible?
after he was
Okay.
done.
Is it possible that Caesar
Sometimes
and the Phantom
he
Weasel were
even got the kids
rivals?
to write their wishes
And
down,
then the
and then
Phantom
he'd make the
Weasel was
items
tired
on
of
the
it, and then he
wish
framed
list
them?
appear in his next show.
Huh. He doesn't sound like such a bad guy.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like
After
he is at all.
died, there were also rumors that he used the wish list to find out what was precious to people, with the intent to steal it later. As I'm sure you know, the Phantom Weasel would steal just about anything from anyone.
Whatever the case, now that the weasel is back, Caesar's become a hot topic once more. I bet Gemma must be pleased. If Caesar's name gets cleared, maybe it'll
Oh,
finally
what
give
if
us some
Caesar
solace after
faked
all
his
this time.
death?
No, speak
That
of
would
the
be
devil.
crazy,
That's her over
though.
there. If you've got any more questions about Caesar, she's definitely the one to ask.
So that's Gemma. Is it just Paimon, or does it look like something's wrong? Wait, it looks like she's injured.
Is she?
Come on, let's see if she's okay.
Oh, a cutscene?
Hi there. You're Gemma, right?
I can't tell if she's young
Who's asking?
or, you
Don't be
know,
afraid.
old.
We mean no harm.
Because she looks young, right? Her face, but then she has like gray hair.
It looks like you're injured. How bad is it?
Thanks for your concern, but you didn't answer my question. Who are you, and what do you want with me?
I'm
My
friends
name is
of
Lyney,
your husband.
and this is my sister Lynette.
My name's Paimon, and this here's the Traveler. We're investigating the Phantom Weasel.
The weasel posted a warning letter this morning. If he still lives, that means that Caesar was falsely accused.
True.
You knew Caesar better than anyone else. So if you're willing, we'd love to hear what you think about all this. I promise you can trust us. We won't hurt you. In fact, we'll do all we can to keep you safe.
Why would anyone want to hurt her, though? I don't get
I
it.
never believed that he was the weasel.
Huh. I suspected as much. Okay, so
You know
going
what I
back
noticed
10
about,
years,
like,
do you
Fontaine?
remember anything strange
All of
in
these
the weeks
quests,
leading up
right?
to the
The
accident?
origin of it all
Did
happened
Caesar
years
have a
ago.
falling out
You know,
with
like the
anyone, for
missing woman
instance?
from the
No.
primordial
Not
seawater
that I
quest.
know of.
It's all like 10 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Got it. All right.
If you don't have any more questions, please leave. I want to be alone with him.
Don't feel like we got any new info.
Judging by the look on her face, there's definitely something fishy about her.
She's lying. She definitely knows something.
That's fair.
Well,
We're just a bunch of strangers who showed up and started questioning her.
the only
about
way to get
things
an
that
answer out of
happened a whole
someone
decade ago.
is from pure,
makes sense that
unfiltered
she'd be wary
violence.
around us.
Let's do it.
In any case, I doubt we'll get any further here, so let's call it a day. Meet me outside Hotel de Boer tomorrow, and then we'll start the next step of our plan. Over here.
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. They should be at a cafe right now. Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely to open up to us.
Well,
Today,
she might
we'll
be
be
meeting
looking into a
someone
guy
that
named
has
Lorenzo,
info.
Caesar's former pupil and assistant. When Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. But Lorenzo was the only one privy to all his magic secrets, and
So he's
inherited
suggesting
his
that his
craft.
assistant framed
For
him.
long, Lorenzo was the next big magician. in town.
Interesting.
His fame surpassing
But I think that's
even
too
that
easy,
of his
right? Like,
master,
oh, the one
and
who
it made
framed
him
Caesar
very
was his own
wealthy.
assistant?
He's since left the magic scene, though, and these days, he's a wealthy businessman with his fingers in a lot of different pies.
Sounds corrupted
I had
as
to pull a lot
fuck.
of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me. Be warned, though,
But then-
I hear he's got a hair-triggered
So
temper.
now Lorenzo is
We
super
best be
rich and
careful.
successful. Seems like he had a hand in it.
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people with you.
Whoa, he looks mad
My
young compared
apologies. These two are
to
my
Gemma.
assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former magic maestro himself, they begged and pleaded with me to bring them along. And if it's no trouble, a couple of autographs would really make their day.
Yeah, big fan.
Forget the
Of
pleasantries.
your mustache.
Just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries, he says, but he looks pretty happy about Lyney stroking his ego.
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase. I have more important things to do than drinking.
Sort of an asshole.
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter I want to address is also related to magic. Yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. He claims
I don't think it's
planning something for the
Lorenzo,
same
because like it'll
evening
be
that I'm
too
scheduled to
obvious,
do a
right? If
magic
it
show
is.
there. As such, I believe that I may well be his target. I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned. Naturally, any investigation into the Weasel starts with a few questions about Caesar, who...
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the Weasel and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it'd be funny to write a warning letter? It changes nothing. Are you trying to tell me you actually bought it?
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do concede that a copycat is but one possibility.
Possibility? It's a fact, Lyney. Look, my patience is limited, so listen.
He definitely
carefully
doesn't
while
want
I'm
someone
still willing to put up
investigating.
with you. The weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this investigation. It'll lead you nowhere. Look, if this affects your magic
I don't
show
think he's
in
the
any
weasel.
way,
I think
will personally compensate you for
he
any
worked
losses.
with the real weasel.
Sir, I'm honored.
Or he knows
really.
about it for
But
sure.
this isn't about finances for me. My pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo. Copycat or not, this person has thrown me the gauntlet, and I must meet their challenge head on.
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy. Just tell me, what exactly are you
God,
seeking?
whenever someone says like
I
boy or
want to
something like
find out
that,
the
it's so
Phantom Weasel's true
condescending.
identity. I have to know for myself what really happened 10 years ago.
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you, anyway? Look, you of all people should know that a magician never reveals their secrets. And in any case, dead men don't talk. So if you really care about your magician's pride, then you'll forget about Caesar and move on.
We're definitely not moving on.
Uh-oh. This is getting awkward.
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is you!
The hell's
I know
that?
big, booming voice anywhere. What's up, my man? Want to grab a drink with me?
Another day, I'm busy.
Oh, come on. You can't be all...
They didn't know each other?
business
It doesn't seem
all
like he was
the
too shocked
time.
to see this guy.
You know what they say? Live fast, die young. You gotta learn how to kick back and relax once in a while.
If I wanted your life advice, I'd ask for it.
Man,
Now get
like,
out of my
the man
face
feels like
and go be
Shaggy
drunk
from Scooby-Doo.
somewhere else.
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
Oh, hey.
Edmondo.
Edmondo. He and I are business pals. We worked together a bunch of times. This is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like this. Foul-mouthed and hard-nosed. Never heard a kind word out of this guy the whole time I've known him. And he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend.
Yo.
Despite being, what, pushing 40, 30, something? Anyway,
He's calling him
point is, a
maidenless.
lot older than when he first got rejected by the girl he was into. And he's still into
Oh man.
from what I hear.
Dude, imagine if
Shut up
Lorenzo
and get out of
likes
my
Gemma.
face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with me ever again. Do I make myself clear?
Oh, imagine that's what it is.
Sorry, I may have had a little too much to drink.
Like he likes like Gemma, and then he wanted to get rid of
I'm gonna leave.
Caesar. Because why would he mention that? Like he,
It's
you
high
know,
time
he
I
liked the
made a
girl,
move
whatever,
as
like
well.
that, and then it's been.
If you really want to
I don't
investigate
know.
this, Lyney, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Now that the fact that he says like, "Oh, do whatever you want, investigate." Now I feel like.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular
Now I feel like, you
fashion.
know, he doesn't have anything to do with it. He's just happy that Caesar died.
Totally. And what was all that about compensating you for your losses? Why would someone you just met make an offer like that? He's gotta be hiding something. And not like Gemma. She was a little suspicious, but this guy's definitely
Yeah,
covering
I do
something
feel like
up.
he's hiding
I
something.
think so too. We need to look into Lorenzo more closely. That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. He only
I
just
mean, I was
left.
just gonna
Let's see if
suggest,
we
you
can catch
know,
up with him.
violence again. That always solves the issue. Just beat it out of him.
You okay there?
Who are you?
We just met
Oh,
you, dude.
it's you
We just
guys.
met you.
Don't worry about
Like 2
me, I
seconds
must have
ago.
had one too many. I just need to ride it out. I said way too much back there, didn't I? Yeah, I nearly talked myself.
No.
into
Drunk
complete
people are the
financial
best. They're the
ruin.
most likely to tell you
Note
secrets.
to self: no more drunken chats when Lorenzo's around.
So he was serious about threatening to cut you off? Ugh, Paimon knew he was a bad egg.
Hey! Keep your voice down. don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs. Bad things happen to people who ask too many questions or make an enemy out of him.
What kind of bad
That just
things?
makes it
Don't
more
even
sussy.
ask. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut this conversation short. I'm not crossing that line again. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. You saw him flare up back there. I don't know what you said to him, but clearly it touched a nerve. That's not a good sign. You're too young for this. Don't get in over your head. I'm leaving.
I love his voice actor. He's actually so funny. It's giving me Ito vibes.
And there he goes.
Shh. I think we're being watched.
I didn't even
Someone
notice
was
that. We
listening
got
in
like
to
a
our
little
whole
FBI behind
conversation.
us.
Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will attract the guards. We'd better take this elsewhere. You followed us a long way. Why don't you come
You
out and
came by
introduce
yourself.
yourselves?
You're a fool. Oh shoot, he did not.
So you're Lyney. And where's your sister? Ain't she with you today? Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us. Let's not drag this out.
Smooth face Pacino? What the hell?
Save your questions.
Painted.
Missy.
Are they named
You
after
ain't
Italian
gonna
actors?
answer. You're good.
Al Pacino,
Capiche?
Robert De Niro?
Looks like we can't avoid this fight. Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back me up.
Don't worry, we got this.
They were so weak.
Tougher than we thought.
No, you're just extra
Vision
weak.
wielders are always trouble. Intimidation ain't gonna work like it did on the lady.
Oh, on
Come on,
Gemma.
let's scram.
Hey, wise guys, we ain't
Wait, what the hell? Why are we letting them go?
Oh, they got away. Did you catch what they said just before they left?
Yeah, it's probably Gemma.
Something about intimidating someone else. Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic, and they've already done it to someone else, but who? You're right. She was injured when we saw her yesterday, and she acted like she had something to hide. Maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth because those guys had threatened her.
Who do those guys work for? Lorenzo? Because he's the only rich one we know, right?
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing to open up to us when she learns that those thugs won't be bothering her anymore. Let's head back to the cafe and see if we can get any information from her.
I think both groaning.
You again. What is it this time?
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and we gave them a taste of their own medicine. So, you can relax now. We're here to protect you.
Imagine it wasn't her.
What? Why?
Oh,
I didn't tell you anything.
it was her.
Why would they come after you?
Sounds like they're no strangers to you.
That's putting it mildly. I know them all too well, and I hate them with every fiber of my being. It's been 10 long years, and still every time I try to look into Caesar's death, they show up and warn me not to do anything stupid. How do I know I can trust you? Do you really think you can get to the bottom of it all? And why are you doing this?
I guess for some primos.
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you this. I will expose the Phantom Weasel's true identity. Because you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost importance. I give you my word. Trust me.
I mean, at this point, I'm invested too.
How can I help
Who's the
you?
Phantom Weasel?
I've heard that
Like,
Caesar
right now
used
it's
to
all
have a magic
pointing to
workshop where he kept
Lorenzo,
a lot of his
but-
personal effects. If possible, I'd like to take a look at them. Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police after his death, and no one's been there since. I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile groups lurking around. If you're serious about going there, please be careful.
Ma'am,
Understood.
I got a
Yvette,
vision.
You stay here and take care of Gemma. Don't let her come to harm.
Got it. But if I'm staying here, I'm ordering dessert.
I mean, bon appetit. But stay
Bone
sharp,
apple
too.
tea.
They're likely to come for you while I'm away.
Okay. All right. Power saving mode off. I'll start taking this more seriously now.
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby.
Secret entrance in the walls
Looks like these
behind the
boxes are
boxes.
blocking the entrance. Let's shift them away first. There we go. It should be just down here.
Easy peasy.
That's weird. Have we reached the end already?
This is a short ass
There's nothing
domain.
here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. There's a distinct lack of mystery. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. I'm starting to wonder whether Caesar built this whole place as one big, elaborate magic contraption. If so, then there must
What
be
does that
more to this
mean?
place than meets the eye. Maybe a hidden room somewhere.
So this is all for show, and then the real room is somewhere
Move
else.
This book, then hopefully, and presto.
Why that book? Wait, why that book?
A secret
How the hell did he know?
passageway. How did you...
I'm a magician too, and apparently great minds really do think alike. Looks pretty big inside. Let's head in and take a look around.
Oh, I see a chest! A door. I bet that teleports you somewhere.
Is there some device in that box?
Huh. It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys go on ahead. If anyone
By
knows a major
himself, we're
discovery,
splitting
let's
up?
rendezvous here.
All right. See you in a bit.
Nah, crap, I hate that. Caesar's diary.
Brick. Let's take a peek inside it, shall we?
At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me how I pulled candy out of my hat. As a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. Next thing I know, today a whole bunch of kids were pestering me to pull all sorts of things out of the hat. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the
Oh, so
meantime,
that's
you
why he
can
was getting
write
those
your
little
wishes
letters
down.
of wish list.
Well,
I thought it was like because
they
it was
took me
Santa.
up on that offer, enthusiastically. As I write this, I've only just got back from running around all over town, buying the things they wanted. Boy, are my legs sore. I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not
The
a
only thing
major
this tells
issue.
me is that there's
I
no
now
way
have a
he's the
bigger
Phantom
problem.
Weasel.
How am I going to hide all these things inside my hat?
Like, he seems like he's way too sweet.
2 children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. They looked much too young to be unsupervised. I do hope they got home safely. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. It's not uncommon for children to ask this, of course, but I've never seen any of them as serious about it as these 2.
2? They're talking about Lyney and Lynette.
Learning magic is very hard work.
That's why they were so, like, you know, they want to get to the bottom of it. They're talking about Lyney and Lynette.
They seemed so committed. I couldn't turn them down.
Caesar was their master. Holy shit.
It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately.
And I bet you Lorenzo is the one that did it.
Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those 2 children. I'll have to talk him around. I have a good feeling about those kids. They're naturally talented, and it seems like they're not new to the world of magic. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas.
Damn, that's so sad. So, like, Caesar is like their mentor, like their father, right?
Standard training plan.
And then he got framed for, like, the wrong crime.
They absolutely mustn't. Any magician worth their salt could have taught them what I have. They're the geniuses here. Compared to them, I don't deserve to be called any sort of master.
That's so sad.
With time, I have no doubt that they could become far greater magicians than I. My only concern is why they're so mature for their age.
I mean,
fear
usually
they had to
tough
grow up
childhood,
too
right?
fast.
Makes you grow up faster.
I don't dare to imagine what they must have been through.
Like, they don't have the luxury to have an actual childhood.
She doesn't like being around them. Says that their eyes are too piercing. They don't bother me, but then again, I've never been the sharpest tool in the shed. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I asked the two kids if they'd like to come
I
with
wonder
me.
if the timing for that
They shook
was
their
like,
heads.
were they already working for the Knave,
I once
or was that
overheard them
before?
talking about their father
Oh,
and their
okay, they
mission.
were. Okay, they are.
Sounds like their parents have other plans for them.
So they were
It's only
learning
been
from
10
Caesar
days
while
since
working
I
for the
first met
Knave.
them, but I think that I've gotten a feel for their personalities now. They're very tough, but also very cautious. And they trust no one but each other. This, I fear, is not a good habit to have. They hide things from me too. For example, when I asked them where they live and why
Does it seem
they
like
wanted to
Caesar
learn
knows
magic,
that their parents
they lied.
were, you know, like they're both dead, they're orphans?
That's the thing about children. Whenever they're trying to cover something up, it always shows somehow. I can sense that their lives have been hard. Possibly even dangerous, too. They're not like other children.
I mean, you taught them magic,
It's a
man.
shame
What do
that
you
I
mean you
can't
didn't do
more
much?
to help them.
Basically, they are who they
thinking
are
things
today
over,
because of you.
I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the world. It's full of lies and falsehoods. And that is why we must find our own truth.
Interesting way of looking at it.
P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. Children are so opinionated nowadays. Will it do them more harm than good for someone they've only known 10 days to lecture them like that? PPS. Maybe I'm overthinking
PPS.
this.
Pretty pleasey.
Children aren't interested in grand philosophies. It probably just went in one ear and out the other. I bet they've already forgotten every word I said.
No, I think they remember every single word, and they're
Oh,
trying very
Caesar,
hard to clear your
Caesar.
name.
Just mind your own business next time.
Now it makes
geniuses
sense
with a father
why,
and a
you know,
mission,
Lyney
huh?
is so adamant about clearing Caesar's name, and why this mission is so important.
Sounds a lot like he was writing
Yeah, they were the
about
one
Lyney and
talking to,
Lynette,
you know,
don't
they're the one
think?
that taught him magic.
So did they meet Caesar when they were kids? Let's go ask Lyney. Lyney?
Shh, hold that thought. As I expected, there's a lot of fishy things going on in this place.
Fishy? Uh-oh, what have you found?
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, I want to tell you how a high-altitude escape is performed.
A what?
First, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. The box is then suspended high in the air, and a short while later, the base automatically opens. At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real enough to grab the audience's attention, and they start wailing and screaming. Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd, waits for a good moment to make their appearance and
But
put
then
on a
the-
hysterical performance.
That doesn't explain how they got
Oh,
out of the
no.
box.
Is that me? Did I just fall to my death?
Very vivid description. Paimon can really picture it. And then what?
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, the dummy has vanished, as if everything that just happened was some sort of shared illusion. Of course, that's just how I think the process should work, theoretically speaking. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, Caesar was the one who fell out, and not the
Oh,
dummy.
Caesar died from a magic trick?
He fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. No one could hope to survive that fall. Not without a vision, at least.
Wow, people
No
with
one
visions
else has
really are
ever
built
attempted
different.
this trick since. My understanding of how
That's
it works is just
interesting.
based on what it could gather from his notes.
So what, like he didn't
relevant
understand a
gadgets
trick, or
here in
someone
his workshop.
sabotaged it?
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done, huh? Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but if it's that dangerous, it's probably for the best that no one else tries to do it. Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then where does the real magician go? How does he get out?
Glad you asked. That
Yes,
brings
that's
us
what I
to
want
the
to know.
secret of said box. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance, and it's not as simple as it looks. Inside, there's a device that only the magician himself would know about. Once
Like
the
a
magician's
trap door, like
inside
a key?
and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience's view of the box is fixed at a certain angle. From where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom, but the back and the top are now no longer visible. At this point, the magician presses a button inside the box, opening a secret door out of view. He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract the audience, and quietly returns to ground level.
That's way
Okay.
simpler than Paimon imagined. Even Paimon could probably do it.
But then how did he mess up?
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. The hardest part of this trick is controlling the audience's mood and reactions. That takes an exceptional degree of showmanship. There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe the magician would even have themselves tied up before it begins to strengthen
Sheesh.
the impression that there's no escape. Many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone into this, all culminating in a performance just a few minutes long.
I always wonder how
but one
magicians
that still
escape being
manages to
locked up, like
transform
when
the
even their
shocking
hands are
grief of a
tied.
tragic accident
Like, where's the
to
key coming from?
joy
How did they
and
get the key
laughter
out
of
of
a
there?
mesmerizing
Out of
magic
there?
trick. Caesar was a highly accomplished magician. But unfortunately,
He just
even
praised
he
Caesar, so Caesar isn't actually a bad magician. He sounds like he was a great
How
magician.
did it go so wrong? You said you found some fishy stuff here. Have you figured out what really happened?
I can make a pretty good guess. I
It's
looked
been
into the case
tampered.
files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side. And sure enough, he always used his right hand as his dominant hand in public.
Okay. Nothing suspicious there.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here.
What?
Which leads me to believe that Caesar was in fact left-handed.
What
Because a
is-
magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally focus their attention on the most important details of the task or situation at
Okay,
hand.
that does
But
make sense.
a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's attention at will, so as to avoid arousing their suspicion. The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, the falsehoods become all the more difficult to mask. And so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations.
That's pretty
Great
crazy.
magic
I
always
didn't even think
requires
about that.
sacrifices. But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left hand. That's why he set his gadgets with the mechanism on his left. Exactly. I think that's likely what happened.
Lorenzo.
Caesar would have
Lorenzo.
been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, retrieve
So
the
someone
dummy,
just
then
swapped
open
it, the
secret
switch,
door and make a swift
on the other
escape.
hand, so he missed the
But I'm
timing?
sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times to the point where it was second nature. He'd barely need to think about what he was doing because muscle memory would guide him through. So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then went to leave. With his left hand, he reached for the button, and suddenly, his heart skipped a beat. It wasn't there. Much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind needed a moment to process what was going on. Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button, maybe for another second or
Damn.
two.
That's actually kind of scary.
Until the
Like,
bottom of the
really
box
scary.
gave way. With the stakes being as high
Oh,
as they were,
man.
just a 2-second delay cost him everything. The authorities would find nothing suspicious and conclude that his death was due to his own error.
When in reality, someone switched the boxes, and they did it to murder him. But how would they be able to make the switch without being noticed? That would be difficult to pull off, no?
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed and who could move his props around without arousing suspicion.
I mean, come
Someone
on.
who
It's
was
obviously
always practicing
Lorenzo.
that right, Lorenzo.
Is he here?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs
Oh my god, that
lie,
was such an
could you?
obvious answer.
There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago.
Alright,
have
I'm
to
ready
do
for a
this.
good old payback. Caesar sounds like
Silencing
a
you the
top
hard way just creates more
top
problems
10
for
out of
me to
10
deal
guy.
with. But I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good for you and back off like the lady, but you disappoint me.
You mean
I mean, I don't
Gemma?
think they understand that
the one
I'm
who's been
super
threatening her.
strong.
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability. But you people, you never even knew him, but for some reason you just wouldn't drop it.
The truth's gotta come out.
Why you can't leave this
Guy's
place
basically
alive.
Caesar's, you know,
Take them out.
his
And make
own
it
students.
Do your worst.
What was that? You just teleported?
You kids are tougher than you look.
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you now. I think it's high time you started talking. And what I'd really like to know is, why did you murder Caesar?
If I had a Mora for every time you said that man's name. Of course you idolized Caesar, everyone else did. But I was the real genius magician. He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic into the fine art it is today. The aristocrats doffed their hats to me.
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy.
But is he the Phantom Weasel?
Hatred, more like. I hated Caesar. All he cared about was his magic. He lived and breathed it. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him, never bothering to think about Mora. What sort of fool devotes their life to the art of deception and never has a Mora
I mean, he
to
does it for
show
the love,
it?
right?
But the people loved him, didn't
The
they?
craft,
Ooh,
the art.
how they
It wasn't
looked up
about
to
money
him.
for him.
No one gave me
He just wanted to make
second
people
look.
happy.
All I ever heard was, "Oh, your master's amazing, isn't he?" Amazing.
I mean, chances are he would have been
So
amazing too,
amazing that he was
right?
completely
You know, once he just passed on the reins to
Every other
Lorenzo.
apprentice was living it up at their
But
master's
Lorenzo's
expense,
obviously
but
like
no, not
mad,
me.
jealous, and
I
greedy.
put in all the work, mastered all the skills, and it brought me nothing more than the life I already had. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their Mora. There was nothing he hated more than that. And with his reputation in Fontaine,
I
it was
mean,
too risky for me to go
that's
it
just a
alone.
dipshit move, right? It's one thing to
As
like
long as he was alive,
do
if
magic
I
that's so
dabbled
good
in
that
my
people
own
want to pay
brand
to
of
go see your show, but it's
money-making
another
magic,
thing
it
to be
would
like
expose me,
just stealing
and it
money.
would destroy me. I had to kill him. There was no other way. He had to go.
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other motive would I need?
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play. For
That's what I thought too. That's what I thought too. Yeah,
you were in
yeah,
love with
the Gemma.
But she was engaged to Caesar.
In love with Gemma? Don't be ridiculous.
Guess I was wrong about that then. Next
Is
question.
he the Phantom Weasel?
Are you the Phantom Weasel?
I am. Caesar was
Oh, he is?
strict with me. He insisted that his way was the right way. That the sole purpose of magic was to bring joy to the world. I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of magic. Sure enough, it helped me fill my pockets with all kinds of valuable treasures.
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would steal whatever people valued, no matter how much it was worth.
Wait, was Caesar
just how it
giving the
looked from the
people
outside.
from
What would any thief
like
want with
Caesar was
second-rate
undoing the
loot?
damage that
I
he
only ever
did?
targeted high-value
Is that possible?
items. I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft. It was other people's overactive imaginations that conjured up the preposterous image they then dubbed the Phantom Weasel.
Oh.
So that's the story, huh? Well, I hope you're ready to tell it all over again during your trial.
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me between your jaws. You've seen what's
What did I
here.
say, guys?
The last
Violence
ditch effort
is the
to
way.
stop it getting out has failed. What else can I do? So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years, the likes of which Caesar could never give me. I wouldn't choose for things to end this way,
God damn.
but I regret nothing.
He regrets
Very
nothing.
well. In that case, I'll contact the
I
guards.
gotta admit, like, you know,
Traveler,
for a villain,
keep an eye on Lorenzo for
that
me.
is pretty
I'll
respectful.
meet you just outside the workshop when I'm back.
But it's just such an obvious answer. It was him this whole time.
Lyney has told me the whole story. Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar and to framing him for the Phantom Weasel's crimes?
Look who's finally developed a conscience. What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it, because there'll be hell to pay.
He's gotta meet Risley.
Looks like it's all over.
He's gotta meet the king.
What should we do next, Lyney? Should we start preparing for your show?
Let me think. Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo in custody, Gemma will no longer have to fear for her safety.
I gotta admit, this quest was very, like, predictable.
It'll give her some peace of mind for sure.
Good news, I found the killer.
You were so quick. I've only just finished my third dessert.
What? Has it really been that quick?
Third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything in moderation.
Only 3 desserts? I felt like I was in there for 10 years.
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess sugar.
That's besides the point. Well, it's done now. But try to eat a more balanced diet in the future.
Point taken.
Dude, I love that
Did
face.
everything go okay?
Of course. Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are taking him into custody as we speak.
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry. I still didn't know if I could trust you, but now it seems I can. I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but
It's okay. We understand.
I thought you would have been, like, more happy and less crying, right?
Find it hard to trust
Your husband's
strangers in
killer
your
was found.
position, too. But you don't need to be scared anymore. Everything's gonna be okay.
Sorry. Sorry. My emotions are all over the place right now. I've been waiting for this day to come for so long.
I think that's true,
I
right?
always
Like,
wanted to
justice for
report
her
Lorenzo.
husband.
He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious. But I had people watching me all the time, so I couldn't risk looking into it. I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me, and then no one would be left to visit Caesar's grave. So I never had the courage to speak out. Thank you all. Truly. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that there were problems between him and Caesar in public. From the outside, it looked like they got along great. And to think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest all this time.
That is kind of messed up,
while
though.
Caesar's
For
name was
10
getting
years,
dragged
he was
through the
living
mud.
like the best,
It's a
right?
travesty. At least his soul can finally rest in peace now. Thanks to you.
All that money better go to Gemma.
If only I'd realized before it was too late.
Don't blame yourself, Gemma. This isn't your fault.
Yeah, it's not even her fault.
Yeah, you still
Like,
have the
she's a
rest of your
victim too,
life to
actually.
live. Caesar wouldn't want to see you spending it feeling guilty.
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. Would you like to come along? It might raise your spirits. This show will be a special one.
Oh, I bet you he's gonna do that trick that Caesar died to, right?
In Caesar's honor. Oh, thank you. I'll be there.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler, Paimon, don't be late.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna miss out on a free magic show.
If it's free, Paimon will be there. Man, this music is kind of sad.
See another of Lyney's magic shows. Wait. Lynette, shouldn't you be on stage by now?
Not this time. My brother's going solo today. So I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and
He's gonna do it.
gentlemen.
He's gonna do Caesar's last trick.
Ready because the
But,
show
you know, he
is
pulls it
about
off.
to begin. The great magician Lyney has prepared a spectacular show for us all tonight, concluding with an all-new grand finale that no audience has ever seen before.
Wow!
Thank you all so much for coming. Now, prepare to join me on a journey through the mystical and miraculous.
Wait, we don't get to see any of it? What
yes, it's just... It reminds me of him.
No wonder. Caesar was a famous magician too. So, how did you two first meet, Gemma?
Well, I was out on the street once, and I saw him performing for little children. Children
the
love
hell?
magic.
You know what's
because they're
weird?
willing to
Like,
believe
the
in
way they're
things that
sitting
can't
looks
be
like Lynette and
rationally
Gemma
explained.
related.
Caesar had this amazing way of bringing them into a dreamlike world. And somehow, I felt drawn to him too. So, I went up and asked him to do a trick for me.
Aw, that sounds so romantic. What trick did he do?
It was with a flower. He took it in his hand, snapped his fingers, and it magically appeared on my head.
Okay.
I was so happy that day. No one had ever given me a flower before that.
Oh, that's so cute. Actually, now that you mention it,
Basically, all of
done
Lyney's
that
tricks
one
come from
before.
Caesar.
Is that right? Then I suppose he's a romantic at heart, just like Caesar. So let's treasure the time we have with him. After all, you never know when the people dearest to you might be gone.
That's right. It's all over now. Paimon doesn't really know how to comfort you, but at the very least, no one's
Man, this
gonna
quest
be
is...
intimidating you from now
It's
on.
sad,
You can
you know, in a
breathe easy
different
at
way
last,
from
right?
Nevi's quest.
Right.
Wait, what am I saying? Everything in Fontaine is so sad.
Phantom Weasel.
See? Even
Wait.
Lynette Wait, what?
What?
The Phantom Weasel? Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
Wait, she's the Phantom Weasel?
What do you mean, Phantom Weasel?
As Lyney once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role and put on a flawless performance for their audience. But once the bag of tricks
I don't
is
understand.
empty and the curtain falls, it's time to end the show. The spotlight is no place for someone with no more cards up their sleeve.
Wait, so she was in on it
It's been 10
with
years,
Lorenzo?
Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act? I think it's time to put an end to it.
But she's the wife.
Talking about... Paimon doesn't like this riddle.
Wait, was Lorenzo covering for her?
This is going. Come on, say something.
I don't understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all enjoying the performance so far.
Oh my god, was she not crying for Caesar, but she was crying that Lorenzo is going to prison?
Electrifying act of tonight's show, the one we've all been waiting for. The final performance will take place outside of the Opera House, so please make your way outside in a calm and orderly fashion.
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places, did they? Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon. Let's talk somewhere else for now.
I just saw Charlotte in the background. That was dope. I need to understand. I mean, there were hints that was kind of sussy, but... What? Like, I didn't think Lorenzo was the Phantom Weasel, but I didn't think it was her.
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid I can't do any tricks to liven up the mood. This is a big mistake for a magician to make, but thankfully, I do have a backup plan. Now, who wants to hear a story?
Lyney, don't we have more important
Dude, just...
things to address
Okay, he's probably got to explain it, right?
Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel
He's gonna
a
explain
moment
it.
ago. Oh, what the heck's going on?
All in good time. Magicians are good at guessing.
But I
what
don't feel
people
like
are
we
thinking.
got any hints though,
I
right?
know the questions you want to ask. And as it happens, the story I'm about to tell might answer a few of them.
Really? Well then, let's hear it. Paimon's dying of curiosity here.
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the court of Fontaine. She never missed a target, never left a trace, and no treasure was safe from her thieving hands. But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Every day she ran the
I mean, that
risk
might
of being
explain
exposed for who
why
she was. Of course,
the stolen
she could
goods
not
were
simply
found
take this
with
lying down, and before long, she found
Caesar,
her
right?
ticket
Because
to
they, you know,
freedom.
they're
She
they're
would
married,
create
they're
a
together.
scapegoat, a false weasel to close the chapter on her behalf. After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned
Damn, so the
magician.
whole time it was just to frame him?
After all, magic and theft shared enough similarities for people to buy the story when the truth came out.
That's messed up.
So then what?
Being the master deceiver she was, the weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now all that remained was to frame him for her
That's what
countless
Caesar
crimes.
looks like?
But as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil, and a new thought entered her mind. Maybe
She was the mastermind the entire time?
after all. At her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing him to fall to his
No.
death. Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
Oh my god, poor Caesar. Like, even his wife isn't...
I've got to hand it to you.
Oh my god.
You're both exceptional storytellers. It's enough to make even me wonder whether there was really another mastermind behind all this.
Jig
But
is
I
up.
just have
Jig
one
is up.
question.
Prison time.
You seem to think that I am the villain in this tale. What's brought this on, Lyney? Is it something that Lorenzo said?
Don't worry, Lorenzo said
I guess it's like
nothing
the
at
way
all.
Lorenzo was saying
never
it. It didn't
believed
seem
that
like he was the
he was the
Phantom Weasel.
And in
And it
fact,
didn't seem
my
like, you know,
investigation only made me more
he
certain of that.
wasn't in love
He
with
was
Gemma.
too
It seemed like he was very
forthcoming
much
with
in love with
his confession,
Gemma.
as if there was something else he was trying to hide.
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo
Dude,
than
Lorenzo
me,
didn't even rat
even
you out,
without
my
a
dude.
shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And I have no doubt that you, Gemma, are equally talented in this regard. With a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance.
Man,
The
that's so
lovesick
evil.
fiancé
Like,
whose devotion to her
it's
betrothed
evil in
is
such a
unshakable,
fucked up
even under
way.
threats of violence.
Like, Caesar just got played by everyone around him. His apprentice, his wife.
Everyone sympathized with your plight. Who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front of Caesar's grave was actually the mastermind behind his demise? No, not that poor lady. Perish the thought.
Wait.
But like, they're still not making her confess, no?
The whole intimidation thing was just a hoax? Gemma and Lorenzo were both in on it?
Wait, what the fuck? This is so crazy. I didn't see this coming. I thought this quest was so straightforward.
Admitting to being the weasel himself.
And in the
Yes,
last
that
second.
indeed. Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Lyney, if you're so confident in your version of events,
Well, her voice changed so
then I
much.
think the answer should be obvious. Having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But if the weasel remained free, then she could take care of Lorenzo's loved ones.
An excellent answer, though sadly a little dull.
Is that right? Well, don't let me bore
Dude, her
if you care to
voice.
change the topic to something more interesting, I'd be much obliged.
As a matter of fact, there's one thing I'd really like to understand. Why would the real weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people? Could you shed any light on that?
Of course. After all,
Wait, like, we don't really have any real evidence that can throw her in jail.
had to
But don't
guess,
tell me she gets off
I would say
scot-free,
that the real
please.
weasel must have had a terrible childhood.
No.
Left to fend for herself after her parents died young. Betrayed, scorned, beaten. She'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. She'd sew ugly rag dolls from whatever scrap material she could get her hands on. This was her only source of happiness
Oh,
in life.
damn. Now even she has a
But it
fucking
was all she needed.
sad
And she was
backstory.
content. Until the world decided that even this was too good for her. Once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. She felt like life was a miry pit that dragged her further down the more she struggled to escape. At that tender age, She should have been happy. Instead, she stood in the shadows and watched with envy as all good things in the world passed her by. This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. Her pain became a breeding ground for dark thoughts. Thoughts which
Her
festered and grew
childhood
into a
really
twisted solution
made
to
her a
troubles.
terrible person, like a
I
monster.
detest the happiness of others, in all its forms alike. I will rob them of everything they hold to be good and true, and it will fill the void in my soul.
That's some pretty heavy stuff.
Now it all makes sense.
Does this story satisfy you, Lyney?
Yes, it is quite to my tastes. Thank you for helping to clear up my confusion.
Huh. That's right. What drove you to write that letter, Gemma? What were you trying to
That
achieve
is weird.
there?
Yeah, why 10 years later? Why write that letter?
This would have ever come to light.
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Phantom Weasel would be consigned to the history books by now.
Lorenzo wrote
But
it?
it seems like someone still wasn't ready to let her finally be at peace. Lyney. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now?
Ah,
You were the one
it
who
was a
posted the letter
copycat.
outside the opera house.
It was a copycat.
But why?
Very sharp, Phantom Weasel.
Damn.
Still as shrewd as ever. Well, no need for me to be coy about it. Our goal was to clear Caesar's name. The most straightforward
But
way to
that's
change the
fucked
public's
though. Like,
impression of Caesar
they cleared the
was to
name, but
force the
then
weasel
she's
to
like,
show
there's no
themselves.
evidence that she did it.
That's it? You had no other agenda?
Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take from you that which you hold most dear, just as you did to me 10 years ago.
10 years ago? You mean Caesar's death?
What can they take from her though?
Wait. Oh, I get it. You were those two obnoxious kids. It's been so long, and you're all grown up now. I didn't recognize you. He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what, 10 days or
Wow,
something?
was it only 10 days? It felt like they
And you
were
went to
teaching him for
all
like
this
months and
trouble?
months.
Why? Because you feel like you still owe him something?
We remember all our debts, however great or small. 10 years ago,
That's
Caesar's
respectable
reputation
though.
was torn to
Yeah,
shreds,
doesn't matter how big
and
the
his
debt is,
legacy
but
was thrown out. 10 years on, and no one cares what the truth is anymore. But we did not forget, and so we came to find you.
And? What exactly did you
yeah, what do they can they
from
take from her? Like, unless she's going to
I'm
jail,
still
like.
standing, as you can see. Lorenzo has admitted to everything. I'm free.
Free? Do you really think so?
I mean, is he
Caesar
wearing a
once
wire
told me
or
that
what the
even though
hell is going
world
on?
is filled with lies and falsehoods, we must find our own truth. I think that applies to you too. Truth can take many forms. Prized possessions with nostalgic value, fervent hopes and dreams, and irreplaceable people. Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed. When they ached unbearably in the dead of night, stealing became your way of numbing the pain.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, what
I'm
are you trying to say,
saying that for the
Lyney?
last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps that's because you found something other than a life of crime to fill the hole? Back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along with your act, and took pains to make sure any suspicion would be directed towards him. But what did he have
I mean, unless they
to
were
gain
really
from
in
all
love,
that?
actually. Like,
He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and
like
despite
Lorenzo,
that, he
you
was
really
willing to
truly
give
love Gemma,
everything
and then
up for your
unless
sake.
Gemma also loved Lorenzo,
He's the reason that you haven't felt
and
the
they took
compulsion
Lorenzo
to
away from
steal
her.
in all these years. You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think you know, deep down, that he is the only truth you have in your life. But that truth is gone now. And I guarantee you, you'll never see it again.
Oh my god, is it
Congratulations on your
true?
freedom.
Is it actually true they were in love?
Your freedom
Or was it not
will
love? It's
cost
just
you
like
dearly.
she was protected
From
by
now on,
Lorenzo.
you'll be all alone in a world full of lies and falsehoods. I do hope you'll be able to bear it. You've still got a long life ahead of you after all.
I mean,
Gather round,
does she?
one and all. The
Looks
time
mad
has
old,
now
right?
come for the amazing Lyney to perform his final act in tonight's show. I'm sure you're all wondering what he has planned for the grand finale. Well,
Yeah, okay, so he is gonna do Caesar's trick.
a death-defying high-altitude escape.
A high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. This was the very trick that led to his fatal fall, after which he was dubbed the Phantom Weasel.
Well, they know it's
We have
not true now,
learned
right?
that
Yes,
Caesar was
correct.
wrongly accused, and that the real Weasel has now confessed to their crime.
Guess that's my cue to leave. Whew. I've been practicing this one for ages now, but I'm still a little nervous. Traveler, Paimon, I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight, but you alone are my true witnesses.
Okay.
Lyney, wait. You two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever knowing your secrets. So what about now? Are you an open book? Or are you still the same as ever? You don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone. One day,
I still
you'll end
find it
exactly
crazy that,
where I
like,
am
oh my
today.
god, like, he's the Phantom Weasel and you
Maybe
planned
then
everything
you'll
and
finally understand.
he still doesn't go to
You're wrong.
prison?
I'm nothing like you.
So, what are we, doing now?
Like
I guess we
Lyney said,
watched the
When you're
show.
ready, let's head outside and watch the show.
But what about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh, and if you'd like to see Lyney after the show, you know where he'll be. The usual haunt.
Alright. Well, let's go and watch Lenny's finale.
They better show it to us. I want to see it.
This trick's a pretty dangerous one, but he should be able to pull it off, right?
So they're doing it in public, like not inside the stadium. Oh wow. Oh wow, that is a pretty deep fall.
Magic should be mysterious, surprising.
I bet you
and
this is the voice
defy
of Caesar.
logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's alright. We're used to that. We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day, you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Damn, he's a swell guy.
Look! Behold! Lyney
Like
is
in a
sealed
way,
inside the
Lyney
box.
is sort of
Will
his
he manage
legacy.
to escape?
Even though if no one knows it.
10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
No, he perfected it. Lyney's got here. That's a dummy, right? That's a dummy.
Mysterious.
Oh, wow, it's like a wish. It's like a 5-star wish.
Surprising. And logic defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you, Caesar.
That is so sad.
I'm just sorry it's a little late.
I mean, I'm sure Caesar would be so happy that he was never forgotten, right? And what he taught stayed with them.
He was falling, and the next, he turned into flowers.
How
could he possibly have done that?
How mysterious. I didn't blink once. He just vanished right in front of my eyes.
What a heart-stopping magic show! This was
Oh, Charlie's here too.
Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Lyney has fulfilled a wish on his behalf. Oh, I couldn't ask for a better grand finale. It will make a great headline for the Steambird tomorrow, even if I do say so myself.
Man, I feel like I see Charlie in every single quest so far. She's like so important.
Paimon doesn't see Lyney anywhere. Where'd he go? Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual haunt. But, oh, you mean the one where Caesar's buried? Yeah, that's probably it. This whole magic show kinda seemed like Lyney's way of saying goodbye.
But it's weird though, because when he was jumping, it looked like that was actually him, right?
That's where he'd be
But it was a
afterward.
dummy.
Alright, let's go look for him there. Lyney! There you are. Are you alright? Paimon was scared to death when the chain broke. Paimon was sure something had gone horribly wrong.
Like the first time?
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on tenterhooks. That's our job. So I tweaked Caesar's original setup a little to keep it fresh. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. The thought of falling...
So he
suddenly
was the
feeling
one falling. It
weightless,
wasn't a dummy.
Seeing the sky and the ground spinning and spinning.
That even makes less sense how he
Sometimes
just vanished.
I can't help but wonder what Caesar thought in those final moments. Did he
Maybe he thought of
regret
you
taking
kids.
Gemma and Lorenzo on? Or did he believe that it was his own slip-up right until the end?
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something
That's
ever
some,
since we were in
some
Caesar's
deep
workshop.
thoughts.
You learned magic from Caesar once, didn't you? When was that?
After I joined the House of the Hearth. To be honest, Lynette and I had an agenda when we approached him. I told you about my past
Agenda
before,
with
remember?
Caesar?
As a young boy, I survived by secretly learning magic from street performers. I'd watch their tricks and try to figure out how they were done. But I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. What I saw was the polished final performance, but the rigorous training they put in behind the scenes remained invisible to me. I needed to learn how to improve my sleight of hand, hone my misdirection skills, and make niftier props. We were gifted enough that we'd made some progress by ourselves, but without proper guidance from a professional magician,
But that was all? Just to
quickly
learn from him?
So that's why you sought Caesar out?
yes. We figured there was no harm in asking, but it took us by surprise that he was so willing to teach us.
Oh, that's not too bad.
In all, we only spent 10 short
thought there was
days
like some
together,
evil
but he
reason
was very
why.
good to us. By contrast, we hid so many things from him. For instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, I answered, it's my passion. But in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. After being taken in by an aristocrat for our magic talent, then betrayed soon after, this was no longer about me doing what I loved. What amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating over whether to tell him the truth. Trust is a beautiful thing. Sadly,
I mean, Caesar knew he was lying too. He said in the diary.
Lyney.
Still worried about the way I feel? You really are a gentle soul, aren't you? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the House of the Hearth, lies and selfishness have followed me and Lynette everywhere we go. After Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next we heard of him was that he'd fallen to his death, and was now declared to be the Phantom Weasel. That night, I remembered his smile. But as I lay there, I didn't know what to say to him. To keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then, one day, you look around and realize your life is like an empty auditorium after a show, full of seats once occupied by all the people who left. But I guess that's the price we have to pay. You only realize how much someone really meant to you when you lose them completely. That's why I was so confident this would hurt Gemma. Because I felt it for myself.
Yeah, Cheer up, Lyney. We've had to say our fair share.
It still blows my mind that
during our
Gemma
journey too.
is free.
But whatever happens, Paimon always believes in what tomorrow brings. Delicious food, fun toys, and the traveler by my side. Paimon just needs to focus on things like this, and all the unhappy stuff goes right out the window. You know, traveler, doesn't that kind of make you Paimon's truth?
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the truest thing each other has in the world, and nothing can replace that. Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma. But at least it left us with each other. That's what gave us
I
the
guess that's
strength to
what's the
get through
difference between
darkest
Gemma
days.
and Lyney, right?
That's why the darkness never consumed
Is that
me, and
Gemma
why it
did
never
not have
will.
a sister or brother or twin or
Maybe we live in
whatever.
the
She was
shadows
alone
too,
lone.
But we remember every precious ray of light that shines through. All right, time to lighten this conversation up a little. What did you think of the show tonight? Were you happy with it?
It was amazing.
Happy and very
Wishes
sad.
we hadn't been so distracted with the Gemma situation. We spent most of our time in the opera house just talking and pretty much missed the entire first half of the show. Lyney, could you do just one more trick for us?
The flower trick.
Whoa, that's
right?
a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are decidedly card-free right now.
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something. The Lyney Paimon knows can do anything if he puts his mind to it.
Oh, all right then. I'll give it a go, but only because it's you. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand! We ain't going along with this!
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have sworn I brought one here with me. Okay, try this. Count down with me. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1!
Now, have another look around. Maybe the
Technically,
flower
that's
appeared
impossible, right? That's
somewhere
impossible. The flower is now on my chest.
Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last time, right?
A rainbow rose.
Oh yeah, a rainbow rose. But more importantly, Paimon has to know how the trick is done. Please, Lyney, pretty please!
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to start by addressing me as teacher.
What about senpai?
Fine. Please, teacher, please!
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the student of magic cannot solely rely on others being prepared to reveal their secrets. You have to observe, think, and find the answers for yourself.
Is that it?
So he's not gonna tell us the
Look
answer.
at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I bid you both good night. I look
Good
forward to
night,
seeing you
Lyney.
again.
All right, fine. See ya. Shall we head back now too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to read the Steambird tomorrow. Paimon bets Lyney and Caesar will be plastered all over it. Let's head to the Steambird's offices tomorrow morning and see what we can find out.
I'm very sorry, Charlotte, but my sister and I are quite busy today. I'm afraid we'll have to decline this interview.
Oh, please, Lyney, I'll only take a moment of your time, if you would be so kind.
Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel, and it was going to go to print this morning. But just as dawn broke, I suddenly received news that Caesar's fiancée, Gemma, had contacted the guards and confessed
What?
that she'd been the real Phantom Weasel all along.
She confessed? But why?
Too late, bro. That was quick, you say? It sounds like I've got some catching up to do.
Why did you confess?
Tell me in.
Whoops.
Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray. You do have something to
Yeah,
hide.
like I guess like
Gemma turning
she
herself in must
resaw
have
that
something to
moment,
do with
right?
Lyney's
When
performance last
Caesar
night.
died and
Maybe watching my high-altitude
Huh.
escape trick reminded her of a better time with Caesar, and she could no longer ignore the voice of her conscience.
damn.
Okay then. Wait, no, there must be more to it.
So it is ending
all it
good.
took for her
Okay.
to have a
I was like,
change of
wow,
heart.
a killer's gonna just be
Take
out.
her 10 whole years.
Okay.
Well...
Oh, I remember now. You and Gemma were nowhere to be found after the show. What happened between you? Quickfire question. Where did you all go after the show?
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Lyney did a private magic trick just for us. Actually, glad you mentioned it, because that reminds Paimon, guess what? Lyney started using rainbow roses in his tricks.
What? I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself.
What does that mean? Is a rainbow rose considered special?
Your own sister?
No,
Oh, you give it to people who are important to you?
What now? Oh, did Paimon say something wrong?
Uh-oh.
This is getting pretty awkward. What do we do, Traveler?
We dip ass.
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Well, never mind. There's always next time. Forgive my persistence, but when there's explosive news waiting to be found, I can't turn away. The news
Oh,
about Gemma
wow.
has
So
already
everything
made
is
waves.
ending, you know, pretty good now.
Nothing to get to the bottom
I feel
of it
good
all.
about this quest.
Apparently, one of the things she said to the guards was that her final wish is to see Lorenzo one last time. Ah, there's clearly a web of complicated relationships there. Can't blame me for being curious. All
I mean,
right,
that's
guess I'll leave you to
weird. So
continue the
did she
rest of your
also love
conversation in
Lorenzo
peace.
too?
Bye
Like the
for now.
feeling was mutual. Interesting.
Lynette? Paimon didn't mean to...
Don't worry, I wasn't angry. I was just trying to distract her.
Oh, really? Oh, thank goodness. You scared Paimon there.
Phew. You and me both, Paimon. You and me both. At least it did the job, right?
Please, take good care of that rainbow rose. I'd be really upset if you lost it.
Wait, was it the rainbow rose that Caesar gave to them when they were a kid? And now they gave it to us? No. Can it be? This quest is a roller coaster. I thought it was so straightforward. Last second, okay, it was the wrong phantom weasel. And then she confessed? Oh my god, this quest was good, but it took a long time for it to get good. But the payoff was worth it because of the plot twist. Gemma did the right thing in the end. Yeah, very surprising. I thought it would have ended up in a way it was like, okay, so someone out there, right? There's a killer out there. But yeah, good ending.